welcome to GardenFork. Today I'm here with my friend Jessica, who I recently met. She is a crafter extraordinaire, and we got to talking, and she mentioned that she does this thing called block printing, which I used to do as a kid, and this light bulb went off in my head, and I said, we need to do a GardenFork video about this. So Jessica lives up the road from me here in Brooklyn, and she came down. Brian's here on the camera, and she's going to show us about block printing. Yep. What I like about this is that it's a great kid project. You can make a Christmas card, a holiday card, a Thanksgiving card. Low-tech, analog, doesn't involve an inkjet printer, doesn't involve a computer. It's so analog.
It's very lo-fi, DIY, and I have taught this to kids and adults and kids and adults together. So it's a great family project, and it's really cheap. Everything we're going to use all together is like no more than $30, and that's if you use the highest end of everything we're talking about.
Yeah.
So who needs to buy holiday cards? I'm going to show you how to make your own.
Yay!
This is a carving tool, and the cool thing about it is that you can switch out the carving tips by screwing it open, sort of lefty-loosey there, and you just fit the carving end in and tighten it up, and then you're ready to go. And in the back end here, I've got a variety of tips. So
it's
I can
kind of almost like a 6-in-1 screwdriver, except it's a carving tool.
That's one of your favorite tools. Yeah.
She watches the show.
I watch the show. Here's an example of something that I've made. This is the logo from my website that I was working on. As you can see, it's a pretty big piece of Easy Carve. And what I've done is I've reversed the letters, which is important because when you're printing, this has to be a mirror image of what you want to see on the paper.
So happygocrafty.com is Jessica's website, and I love that we've done this analog logo for a completely digital site.
Right.
So
I'm thinking what I'll do is like take a picture of it and upload it to my website. So a great blend of like, here's what I can make with my hands, here's what I can do with a computer. So I found online when I Googled abstract Christmas tree, so you can Google that, this like swoopy design here, which I really like. So I also think it'd be really easy to carve. So that is one way to do it, just to draw right on there, and what we'll do is we'll carve away all the pencil lines. The other way is to actually
do like a transfer.
To do a transfer, yeah. So I'm going to draw a different tree here. Just a very basic
the Eric kind of tree.
Yeah, I mean I drew that in 3rd grade, I'm pretty sure. So there it is in graphite, or whatever pencils are made out of right now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to touch my tree here. I'm going to stick it in the middle there, and then I'm going to do this scribble technique.
And that will transfer some of the graphite onto the printing block.
And so there we go.
Wow, cool!
Yeah! Wow. So I'm going to show you the 2 different methods of like what to carve away, the positive image and the negative image. But first we have to talk about some safety in carving.
Carving safety.
Carving safety. There are 3 things that I teach people when it comes to safety. The first thing is to use some kind of guard here. And this is something you can make really easily, something you could make really easily.
With some scrap plywood.
Exactly.
Boom, you're done.
Exactly.
So one edge sits on the counter.
This is going to lock in on the edge of your table or your work surface, and this edge is going to hold the block. That's because one of my safety rules is never have your fingers behind the block.
Important safety tip.
Very important safety tip. Because there's no safety tip here. This is really sharp and it's designed for carving, and it will just as soon carve your finger as it will carve this material. So good. We want you to be a little nervous about it.
I don't like blood.
But only
Ask
a little.
Brian.
Rule number 1 is make shallow cuts across the top. Rule number 2 is always carve away from your body, right? We should never be carving like this. And then rule number 3 kind of goes with that. It's never put your fingers in front of the tool. So always have your fingers back here. And if you need to move the block, you can. If you were going to carve a circle, you could just spin the block like that instead of spinning the tool. So I'm making really shallow cuts, and I'm not worrying about the background right now. I'm just carving out.
So you're going along the pencil lines. You're
going along the outside of the pencil lines. Yeah, in this we want to leave the pencil and carve away everything else. So what I've done is I've finished carving out all the directional lines around my abstract tree, but I've still got this star, and the star has a lot of detail, which is too much detail for this this tip that I'm using here. This is my wider tip. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna change it out and use this smaller tip. So the point of the brayer and the plate is to get this ink as thin as possible. We really want to keep going. I'm going up and down and back and forth. And you can see that my
And this doesn't have a smell or anything.
No,
It's
not at all.
water-based.
It's water-based, non-toxic. You can wash it in your kitchen sink.
Good for kids.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't even need to use any soap to wash it away. Just
We don't
rub
have
it with your
smocks. We should
hand.
have smocks on.
It doesn't splatter. You know, it doesn't drip.
Remember
It's-
the art smocks?
Oh yeah. So I'm just gonna roll lightly. Oh, I love my background lines actually. So we've got this nice thin layer of ink on here, and I'm gonna test it on this scrap paper. Always test it before you put it on your real card. And I'm gonna press evenly with my fingertips. Your palm can't feel pressure as well as your fingertips can. So don't push so hard that it scoots on the paper. You just want it affixed. Peel it up.
Cool.
And there's your print. So I want to show one more really quick and easy method of carving out that's actually even faster than this. If this feels like too much for you, you're gonna love the other way.
The Eric method.
Instead of carving everything away from the pencil lines, this time we're just gonna carve the actual pencil lines. So check this out. And this time I'm just cutting out anything that's in pencil. So I'm gonna have
So you're just following the pencil lines with your carving
follow
tool.
the pencil. This is the easiest thing to do. It's the fastest thing to do. Now this means anything I carve away is gonna stay white. And anything I don't carve away, all that surface is gonna be green. So it's sort of like
that'll look really cool.
it's gonna look awesome. So I think this is just utterly charming. Let's print it and see what it does. I'm gonna aim for straight placement down. I'm gonna touch the tops, the bottoms, the insides, the middles. Merry Christmas! Isn't that sweet? Right, so Eric is going to print not only his first card, but his first printing ever. So no test run.
No, we're not going to do any test run. We're just going to do it because the happy accident is the beauty of GardenFork. Okay,
Right.
so I have some
Roll it across
cardstock here, and I have my design here, which I don't want to show you until I print it.
Oh boy.
So I don't press down
No,
hard.
really lightly. Great.
No, I am seeing that. Is that okay?
That's okay.
And now go the opposite direction too. Oh yeah. Ho,
And then
ho.
make sure your card is oriented right. This is going to be a vertical card. Okay? And I put this roughly in the center.
And the bigger the stamp is, the more you have to make sure that you're pressing all the areas.
And I'm using my fingers, not my palm.
Excellent.
And it's water-based ink, so you can get it on your hands and it's okay. And this doesn't involve a computer or a printer or anything.
And just remember that now that there's ink on your hands, careful where you touch on your paper.
Oh, on the card, yeah. Now I'm ready to pull it up.
Let's see.
That is awesome.
Except it says, oh, oh. I kind of like that. The exclamation point at the beginning.
That's a beautiful card, except it's backwards.
Oh, oh.
Oh, oh. Instead of ho, ho. Well, I carved the ho, ho the right way, and I should have carved the ho, ho backwards. But that's the beauty of
great
GardenFork.
learning experience,
But this is,
yeah.
you send this, and people will pay attention. You send a digitally printed card, people are like, oh, yeah, you know. Have you and your kids make these, okay?
Totally. That looks great.
And go to happygocrafty.com. There's a GardenFork logo's coming out of this somewhere.
You can like me at Happy Go Crafty on Facebook, follow me on Twitter or Instagram, or sign up for my mailing list at happygocrafty.com.
Yeah, get our email.
Yeah.
I signed up.
I teach all over Brooklyn and New York City, and I'll come to where you are to teach too.
Well, oh, everybody.
Oh, oh, oh.
All right, all of Jessica's information will be in the show notes below here in the About section. And if you like more of what we're doing here, subscribe or sign up for our email list as well. And if you have any questions or comments, leave them below. Jessica and I will respond. I love this.
Great
Thank
job.
you.
You did great.
Thank you for coming.
Fantastic card.